Wreck-It Ralph 2, the movie Storybook. Wreck-It Ralph and Vanellope von Schweetz were best friends. Ralph was the bad guy in the popular game Fix-It Felix Jr. and Vanellope was the best racer in Sugar Rush. They did everything together. Every day before the sun came up in Litwak's family fun center and arcade, they met in Game Central Station, which was located in the power strip. One day, Mr. Litwak plugged in something new and different, a Wi-Fi router. Vanellope thought doing something different sounded good. She knew every turn and obstacle in Sugar Rush by heart. Even though she loved it, the race wasn't much of a challenge anymore. That gave Ralph an idea. He hurried into the game ahead of Vanellope and pounded out a new off-road track. Vanellope loved it. But Sweaty, the game's player, thought something was wrong. Sweaty turned Vanellope's steering wheel so hard it broke off. Mr. Litwak tried to put the steering wheel back on, but it snapped in two. He said he couldn't order a new one. The company that made Sugar Rush had gone out of business. Sweaty found a used steering wheel on eBay, but Mr. Litwak said it was too expensive. Sadly, it was time to retire Sugar Rush. Litwak's going to unplug your game, shouted Ralph. All the Sugar Rush characters ran out the exit and into Game Central Station. Fix-It Felix arranged for them to stay in the Nicelander apartment building. The residents took everyone in, except the game's high-spirited racers. Finally, Sergeant Calhoun, Felix's wife, stepped forward and volunteered to take them all. Surge Protector tried to warn the two about overloading their home, but they wouldn't listen. Later that day, Ralph and Felix were feeling gloomy about what had happened to Sugar Rush. Ralph wondered if it was all his fault. But he perked up when he remembered the steering wheel Sweaty had found on eBay. Getting it meant Vanellope would be able to return to her game, and the racers would leave Felix's apartment. Ralph hurried off to find Vanellope. He couldn't wait to tell her the good news. Vanellope, we're going to the internet! Come on! Inside the Wi-Fi router, capsules formed around Vanellope and Ralph, and they were launched into the internet. Whoa! Cool! Shouted Vanellope. Ralph could barely fit in the capsule, so he had a bumpier ride. Oof! Ooh! Ah! Sweet mother of monkey milk! Exclaimed Vanellope. The world of the internet was so big. They had no idea how they'd ever find the place called eBay. Knows More had the answer. In fact, he had all the answers. Knows More ran a search bar. As soon as he knew what to look for, he found the steering wheel in milliseconds. Vanellope and Ralph were quickly whisked away. We're gonna do it, Ralph. We're actually gonna save my game. Told you not to worry. We just gotta keep our eyes on the prize. When they got to eBay, there was a group of pop-up ads outside. They offered a variety of items that you could get with just one click. But Ralph and Vanellope were in a hurry, so they continued. Inside eBay, the auction for the Sugar Rush steering wheel had already begun. A bidder shouted out a number. Penelope had a hunch. I think all you have to do is yell out the biggest number and you win, she said. Before long, the number got so high that the other bidder dropped out, leaving only Ralph and Penelope. Sold, shouted the auctioneer, for 27,001. At the checkout, Ralph and Penelope learned they had to pay $27,001, and if they didn't pay in 24 hours, they'd lose the bid. Ralph remembered a fellow named Spamley, who'd had a pop-up ad claiming that people could get rich playing video games. Ralph and Penelope went to his website. Spamley and his partner Gord showed them a list of items from games that would earn them money. One was a fast car from Slaughter Race that was worth much more than they needed. The car belonged to Shank, the game's fastest and toughest racer. Ralph and Penelope watched as two other players tried to steal Shank's car. Shank and her crew easily knocked them out of the game. Ralph had an idea. He created a distraction to draw Shank's attention away from the car. Penelope jumped behind the wheel and stepped on the gas. They had Shank's race car. But Shank was not going to give up that easily. She hopped into another car and quickly caught up to Ralph and Penelope. Penelope did her best, but the Sugar Rush racer couldn't outrace Shank. She lost. Ralph tried to explain. He told Shank they needed her car so they could earn enough money to save Penelope's racing game. Surprisingly, Shank wanted to help, and she knew just what to do. She had one of the members of her crew blast Ralph with a leaf blower. Another recorded it on her phone. Shank said her friend Jess could help them make money by putting crazy videos like that on the internet. Just outside Slaughter Race, Penelope bounced with excitement. She loved the racing game, and she was also very fond of Shank. She looks cool, she drives cool, her car is cool. But Ralph didn't trust Shank. Suddenly, a messenger popped up to let them know that their eBay bid would expire in 8 hours. Penelope tried to convince Ralph that going to Yes at BuzzTube was the fastest way for them to make money. Reluctantly, Ralph agreed. Yes ran the insanely popular video sharing site BuzzTube. She loved Ralph's video. When Yes checked the video online, she was amazed at how many hearts it had received from viewers. The hearts are money, Yes explained. We already have $43? Mm-hmm. I predict this video is gonna be huge. I can see the headline now. Ralph breaks the internet. To help Ralph get more hearts, Penelope volunteered to be part of BuzzTube's army of pop-up ads. Yes's limo dropped her off at a popular website called ohmydisney.com. But Penelope was an unauthorized pop-up, so she had to hide to avoid being caught. She glitched through a locked door and found herself face to face with avatars of the Disney princesses. Penelope told them she was a princess too, the princess of Sugar Rush. And everyone became fast friends. Soon, all the princesses were sporting a more casual look, like Penelope. Meanwhile, time was running out. Even though Ralph and Jess had been busy making funny videos. They needed one more to make enough money to buy the steering wheel. While Yes tried to upload a new video, Ralph headed down to the main floor of BuzzTube to get more hearts. He ended up in a room full of comments. He thought everyone on the internet loved him, but soon he learned he was wrong. Some people hated him. Regardless of how those people felt, the latest video was a hit. Now Ralph and Vanellope had more than enough money. Ralph paid for the steering wheel and called Vanellope on his phone with an app called Face. Without Vanellope realizing it, her phone vibrated off the dashboard and the call was answered. Ralph overheard her tell Shank that she loved Slaughter Race so much she wasn't going back to Game Central Station with Ralph. Ralph felt like his best friend was betraying him. Gord said his cousin, a shady character named Double Dan, had created a virus that would slow down Slaughter Race. Hopefully, that would make Vanellope lose interest in the game. Double Dan picked up an exotic wooden box. Allow me to introduce you to Arthur. Double Dan explained that Arthur was an insecurity virus. It would find the flaws in Slaughter Race and duplicate them. As long as Ralph didn't let the virus escape the game and go into the internet, no one would get hurt. Ralph sneaked into Slaughter Race and let Arthur loose. Once the virus was free, it went to work. But instead of slowing down the game, it scanned everything, looking for weaknesses. When Vanellope glitched, the virus copied the error and spread it through the game. Walls, buildings, and other race cars glitched too. Slaughter Race started to break apart. The game was crashing. A building collapsed on top of Vanellope's car, knocking her out. Suddenly, the outside of Slaughter Race started to shimmer and glitch. Ralph knew something was going wrong inside. I've got to get her out of there, he said. Slaughter Race's firewall was closing. Ralph busted a hole to get in. He had no idea that the virus was able to escape into the internet through the hole he had made. Vanellope blamed herself for crashing Slaughter Race. It was my glitch's fault, she said. No, it wasn't, Ralph admitted. He told her about the virus and how it was only supposed to slow the game down. Vanellope was angry. She threw Ralph's medal into the Aldernet. You will not follow me, she declared. Feeling helpless, Ralph watched her go. He didn't realize that the virus was now scanning him. Insecurity detected. Down in the Aldernet, Ralph searched for his medal. But when he found it, it was broken in half. Meanwhile, the virus, fueled by Ralph's insecurities, was cloning itself at a furious pace. Millions of Ralph clones were wrecking the internet. Ralph knew he had to save Vanellope. Meanwhile, Vanellope had made her way to know more. Who told her about a section of the internet that could get rid of the clones? That was when the real Ralph showed up. Vanellope hatched a plan. Against Ralph's better judgment, Vanellope decided she could use herself as bait to lure the clones into the antivirus district. Then Slaughter Race and the internet would be saved. All they needed was a car. Yes zoomed up in her limo, and Vanellope and Ralph got in. Vanellope taunted the clones. It's me, Your bestest friend in the whole wide world. It worked! Woohoo! Unfortunately, the clones caused the limo to crash. Everyone was okay, but not for long. Millions of clones came together and formed one gigantic Ralph. It grabbed Vanellope and climbed to the top of a skyscraper. Ralph tried to save her, but he was caught too. Gigantic Ralph began to squeeze him. Stop it, Vanellope yelled. Take me! Just put him down. I'll be your only friend, she told the giant Ralph. No, you don't own her. That's not how friendship works, the real Ralph explained. You need to let her go. He turned to Vanellope. And we're gonna be okay, right, kid? Always, she answered. Suddenly, the clones began to dissolve as Ralph's insecurity disappeared. The internet was saved. Ralph and Vanellope prepared to say goodbye for now. Slaughter Race was going back online, and Vanellope would be part of Shank's crew. Vanellope didn't want Ralph to worry. I'll be totally safe, she said. I know. It's gonna be great, Ralph replied. You found your dream game. Ralph handed Vanellope half of his broken hero medal. Aww, Ralph, you're the best friend a kid could ever want. Ralph and Vanellope remained best friends, even though they no longer spent every day together. Vanellope was one of the fastest racers in Slaughter Race, and Ralph was still the bad guy in Fix-It Felix Jr. But he had learned that change could sometimes be a good thing, especially when it was in quarters. If you like this video, please drop a comment below and don't forget to subscribe.